Did you know that you could actually download the app for this movie and it will give you a countdown and it will tell you when you are going to die? And just have to say, hang on. Oh shit. Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to an all new Talkin Movies. As always, I'm your host, the real Geno Reynolds, and today we're gonna be talking about the movie that actually has a real app that you can download and you can find out when you're going to die. Today we're gonna be talking about the movie Countdown. I'm gonna say this, I'll probably spoil this movie, so for those that don't want to be spoiled, I thought the movie was okay. I've seen worse horror movies. That being said, there's nothing really original in this one, so don't expect any new types of scares or anything like that. The story's pretty generic. Most of the characters are pretty generic. I mean, it's a very gimmicky movie, but I've seen worse gimmicky movies. Uh, do you need to rush to the theaters to see it? No. It's definitely a rental at best. So, with that out of the way, let's talk about the movie. This movie, there's an app that I'm assuming they're college kids, are playing at a party, and, they download this app and it tells you when you're going to die, and they decide whoever has the least amount of time left has to drink all the beer, right? But then when the girl that loses will not ride home with her drunk boyfriend, she gets out of the car and he drives off, and this app sends her a notification saying that she's violated the terms of service, and then she ends up going home and dies at the time she's supposed to die. When the timer runs out, she's dead. The boyfriend ends up getting in a wreck, and in the hospital, he has the app as well, and it tells him when he's going to die, and it's very soon, and he does end up dying in a very horrific way. He's supposed to be getting an operation, but he kind of runs away from it and ends up getting killed in the stairwell, and they think he killed himself. Newly appointed nurse, the newly appointed nurse Quinn, she ends up kind of investigating this herself. And when she downloads the app, she only has about 3 days to live. So the whole story is her trying to figure out what's going on and with this app, and she has 3 days to figure it out. Okay, this movie, like I said in just a little bit ago, the movie's fine. There's nothing in it that really surprised me when it came to scares. The characters are very generic. And I will talk about a couple characters in a bit that kind of stood out. But the story itself, you have a lot of the tropes you have in horror movies. There's, they approach a priest about it. There ends up being an expert, or a quote-unquote expert, we'll just say. There's always someone else that's dealing with it that teams up with our main character. There's just, and then of course there's consequences that just don't fall on the main character. They fall on someone they care about. So all the tropes are here. There's a lot of jump scares. They use sound and darkness and just a lot of reflection stuff. And then really the plot itself is really obvious. You kind of know that you got to beat the clock, right? You have to beat the clock to beat the bad guy, right? That's just, it's real easy to figure out. So if you can extend or shorten, because of course they're trying to all live, but you think, well, the whole time it's like, look, I know you don't want to die, but you'll save everyone if you off yourself, right? Even though you know that the ending of the movie's probably going to have some kind of a stinger that, can tease a part two if the movie makes money, or just be kind of a fun teaser if they're just going to, they want to end it with one of those shocking, it's not really over type things. So you kind of know what's all coming, and you know who they're going to go after. See, they try to save their lives, but someone ends up dying anyway, and so you know, okay, they're gonna have to off somebody. Who are they gonna off? Well, there's one character in the movie that is this scumbag, rapist doctor that he you know he's gonna be who they go after, right? So the movie's real obvious, real predictable. What I did like though, I did like the premise because uh, you have this app that tells you when you're gonna die. Now you can either accept fate, or if you try to change fate, then you have to deal with the consequences. If you just accept fate, because you have our main character, she's gonna go with her family to like visit their late mom's grave, and if she just would have accepted her fate and her family died, then it just would have happened. They just would have died. But since they tried to change their fate, she cancels the trip because that's when she's like, well, I'll be on this trip when I'm going to die. I must be going to die on the trip, so I'm not going to go. Well, then she gets a notification say she broke the terms of service. And that happens to a lot of people in this movie. You break the terms of service. And then that's when the bad stuff starts happening because it's not death that comes after you. It's not the Grim Reaper. It's a demon. And so, of course, you get into all the tropes of demon stuff. You know, the demon has rules. You got to find a way to beat the demon. All the stuff that you expect in this kind of movie. But I did like that it's like, well, you know when you're going to die, you're going to accept that, or you're going to try to change it and then have to deal with the nightmare that is the demon. So that was kind of neat. I kind of like that. But again, it was still very predictable. There were a couple characters I liked for different reasons. The quote-unquote expert priest, he was just kind of like a big nerd. And like it kind of like he geeked out for like demon stuff. And of course, he just so happened to have the right information that they needed. I mean, it was very very easy for them. It's like, we're going to send you to the right guy. And of course they send him to the guy that has all the answers. And then he leads them to the next guy that has more answers. And the next guy, my favorite part of this movie was anytime Tom Segura, comedian Tom Segura, was in this movie. He played a cell phone salesman. You see him in the trailer where the main character's trying to trade phones. And then, of course, the app downloads on that because, of course, it's a demon. And Tom Segura in that movie is just hilarious, what little bit he's in it. He's in the movie a couple times. At first, he's the one selling her the phone. Then later, they use him to hack the phone. And he's pretty funny there. And they end up giving him like a ton of money because he's going to go on, I think it was a Tinder date. I don't know any of those apps, Tinder, Grindr, whatever they are. I don't know the names. I think it was Tinder. Or whatever. I can't keep him straight, but he was going on one of those kind of dates, and they gave him a bunch of money to hack their phones, and he adds a bunch of time to the clock, but then, of course, the demon fixes that. But I did enjoy his character. Tom Segura is a very funny guy, and I like him a lot as a comedian. So I've seen him in the movie. He stood out for me. But really, the movie itself, there's really not much more to say. You know how it's going to end. You know they're going to, quote-unquote, stop the bad guy, but then there's a stinger at the end where, and of course, this being about an app, they've passed their time limit, and they beat the bad guy. They got past the time limit, but then the main character checks a notification on her phone, and of course it says Countdown 2.0 downloading, and it's like dun dun dun. Will they get a sequel? Probably not. Is it just kind of a fun stinger at the end, like you get in a lot of these types of horror movies? Yeah. Again, I wouldn't rush to the theaters to see it. I know it's, tis the season, and it's probably really one of your only choices out right now. But I wouldn't rush to the theater to see it. It's definitely a rental at best. That's going to be all for this edition of Talkin Movies. If you like what you've heard here, please subscribe to the Real Geno YouTube channel. Like this video. If you have anything to say about the movie Countdown, please feel free to leave a comment in the section below. Until next time, I'm your host, the Real Geno, Geno Reynolds. and I got about 5 seconds.